In crypto, people usually worry about volatility first and transaction history second, even though the transfer history is often what comes back later. Because sending USDT or TRX feels almost frictionless. Open wallet, confirm, a few seconds pass, balance updates. And mentally, the transfer already feels finished. But technically, that's only the movement part. TRON is extremely transparent by design. Addresses, amounts, timing, everything stays visible on-chain. So when funds later interact with exchanges or platforms that apply compliance checks and transaction monitoring, that history can become part of the evaluation. Anyway, I've been testing different crypto workflows and infrastructure for years now, and this time I wanted to look at one setup that focuses on transfer structure, privacy trade-offs, and keeping control at the wallet level instead of just sending directly and never thinking about what happens after. So first thing on screen, wallet connection. There are several supported options here. I'm going to use Trust Wallet for this walkthrough. Good, authorization completed, and from here I select what I want to send. Then I copy destination address and paste it into this field. Next, I enter the amount, and right below that, there's the routing configuration. This is where the transfer behavior gets adjusted. One parameter controls how many intermediary stages are involved before the transfer reaches the final destination. Higher values mean the route becomes less direct from an execution perspective, but they also increase network activity and usually require more time to complete. So then there are two additional controls. One changes whether the amount moves as a single transfer or gets distributed into separate portions, and the other changes execution timing so activity doesn't happen in one immediate sequence. Nothing complicated visually, but technically these settings change how the movement appears over time rather than changing the blockchain itself. Okay, I confirm transaction, request starts processing. And depending on selected parameters, this can finish fairly quickly or take a little longer. So at this point, I'm mostly waiting for the route to complete. All right, amount checks out, transfer completed. And now this is the part I think matters more. TRON remains public, transactions remain visible. What changes is how directly one movement maps to another. Instead of creating one obvious transaction pattern from sender to recipient, execution can be structured in stages with different amounts and timing characteristics. That removes visibility, guarantees outcomes, and replaces exchange compliance rules. Also, it can reduce how simple transaction relationships appear at first glance and create more separation between operational steps. Another thing I always check is custody, because I'm generally not interested in workflows where assets disappear into somebody else's address. Here, approvals stay inside the wallet. Execution gets coordinated without handing over long-term control of funds. And honestly, for me, that's usually more important than whatever headline gets advertised. Hopefully this made the trade-offs easier to understand and showed why transparency, transaction design, and wallet control matter more than most people realize. Thanks for watching.